Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. Another matter that has been of concern to us is the not infrequent occurrence of communal disturbances. It is regretful that, in spite of our faith in secularism and the existence of constitutional guarantees, disturbances, often violent, should occur from time to time in different parts of the country. This has to be tackled at two fronts. Firstly, by educating the masses that communal harmony and unity, all sections of the population, is very essential for our nation's progress, both economically. Secondly, those who whip up communal sentiments and hatred should be dealt with severely under the law. We have to take all possible measures to curb communal tendencies which have no place in our secular democracy. I would like to devote serious thought to this problem and suggest steps to be taken to avoid situations that lead to communal disharmony and disturbances. I should also draw your attention to the recent reports of the Commissioner for Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes. Some of the salient points of his recommendations have already been circulated to you. The founding fathers of our Constitution had hoped that a period of 10 years would be adequate to remove the disparities and had accordingly provided the constitutional safeguards. Even the disparities and discriminations which afflicted these weaker sections of our society and had accordingly provided the constitutional safeguards. Even after extending this period till 1980, can we be sure that no further protection would be needed? I would, in particular, like to emphasize three distinct aspects of the problem. In the first place, it is a matter of deep shock and concern that incidents of torture and other forms of atrocities in which the Harijans are victims continue to be reported from different parts of the country. Even if there was to be one such incident, it should be sufficient to make us feel ashamed. The second aspect of the problem is reservation orders in respect of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes have not yet been fully given effect to, and the disparities in representation not only amongst different departments within the same state but also between different parts of the country continue. The constitutional safeguard of preventing of these communities from being exploited has also not been secured in practice. The third aspect relates to the field of development. I would very much like to hear your views of these three aspects of the problem. How, in regards to the first, the law and order machinery can be made more vigilant and responsive. How, in regard to the second, there could be a continuous review so designed as to secure within the minimum time possible the objective that members of these communities get appointed at least to the posts reserved for them. What are the inadequacies in law and in the administrative organization which allow the practice of untouchability or the problem of alienation of tribal lands, indebtedness, bonded labor, etc., still to continue? In regard to the third, The emphasis in our current plan is that out of each sector plan, out of all possible sectoral programs, we should identify and quantify efforts that could secure the accelerated development of the tribal areas and the economic advancement of persons belonging to scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. I would like you to discuss whether sufficient steps have been taken in the different states to implement this strategy which has been adopted. Is there an awareness of the implications of the new approach? Are adequate efforts underway to ensure that all sectoral plans and programs would be reviewed and implemented in a manner which would bring about accelerated development of the tribal areas and the economic advancement of the members of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes? We may discuss how governors could play a more useful role in regard to these matters. A most significant development in the year has been the historic accord in relation to Kashmir and the return of Sheikh Abdullah to power after 22 years. It is hoped that this accord will mark the augury of a new era of trust, peace, and orderly progress in the state and vindicate the national ideals of secularism and democracy. During the past year, the Indian economy had to pass through a very difficult phase. Inflation on an unprecedented scale, shortages of essential goods, the aftermath of the oil crisis, and a generally low level of economic activity characterized the first three quarters of 2003. To meet the difficult food situation, the government strengthened the public distribution system to ensure equitable distribution of available supplies and meet the requirements of the vulnerable sections. The quantity of food grains issued through the public distribution system during 2003 was 10.6 million tons as again 11.4 million tons distributed during 2002. To continue the smooth running of the public distribution system, arrangements were also made to import 5.5 million tons of food grains from abroad during the currency of the year.